them, but there are a few in-game ones too, such as stalling.
Whoa, wait, that's a rule in Melee? I actually didn't know that. Ultimate needs this ASAP. Fuck, man. Ultimate desperately needs a stalling rule for Sonic. CoffeeZilla new video. Oh, that's like a 6-part video. I actually know all about that. Mudahar was asking if my HMG's lawyers would be willing to defend them if they decide to go through with their case. Or if, excuse me, that's phrased incorrectly. If they try and come after them.
This is a $1 million video, I just realized. I spent $600,000 on watches. I lost $200,000 to 6ix9ine, $60,000 in private planes, $20,000 on hotels in Mexico, $100,000 on Rolex and cars. Yeah, it feels good to be a winner.
This is the first in a 6-part series in collaboration with Some Ordinary Gamers.
I know both of those,
exposing the secret world of unregulated offshore crypto gambling and how influencers have become filthy rich by being the gasoline on the fire, promoting it around the world and making it into the billion-dollar phenomenon it is globally. Now, I'll be honest, when I first started looking at this, I had no idea about any of that. The reason I'm actually here starts off the way all great stories start, with Twitter beef.
Let's go!
Right, here's how this went down. I had been hearing for a while about how online, unregulated crypto casinos were hiring some of the biggest influencers in the world to promote them, and then would pay them for every fan they got to sign up. And not only that, every time their fans would lose money to the casino, the influencer would make a cut on those losses.
That's fucking crazy.
And I said, enough's enough. It's time to act. So
There's no way.
I just found out that the top gambling streamers are getting paid a percentage of their signups losses. So not only are streamers getting paid,
holy shit, that's insane.
They're literally incentivized for their fans to lose as much as possible. How do these people sleep at night? Now, normally I expect my tweets to go into the great void of Jack's armpit, but this time I guess one of those gambling streamers actually saw it and he responded. Steve will do it. Now, I can't imagine why he felt singled out.
I saw that tweet. I saw that tweet.
Off that I would accuse him of profiting.
The dude's super dumb. Like, he's super dumb.
Hey, you broke moron. Do your research. Roobet's affiliate program has nothing to do with losing. It's about the bet. Roobet is different than other gambling websites. Do your research, you broke moron, before you post like this publicly. Given his thoughtful response, I thought, hey, maybe I made a mistake. So I went back and checked Roobet's affiliate terms, and it turns out he's right. Roobet doesn't give influencers a percentage of their fans' losses. Roobet gives
that's crazy.
A percentage of the mathematical odds of their fans losing. This is straight from Roobet's page. Affiliates receive a commission of 5% of the mathematical house edge on all their referrals wagers, with that percentage increasing as the referrer climbs the tiers. And if you're thinking right now, wow, that sounds like basically exactly the same thing. It is the exact same thing.
I can't fucking believe it.
It's kind of clever, actually, because now, instead of being directly tied to their fans'
losses,
losses,
so much money.
Innocent. They're still profiting from their fans, but, you know, in that indirect economic percentage sort of way. It's kind of like saying, no, I didn't bomb those Syrian kids. I just sent the drone the dead. It's the exact same thing. It's just living in a penthouse, knowing that I change people's lives every day and I'm rich. It wasn't even...
What a douchebag. Holy shit.
It was actually this. Do your research. Which is why this series now exists. And Steve Will Do It legally can't be mad about it because technically he's the one who asked for this. So, yeah, Steve, this one's for you. Now I want to be clear.
Hey, amen, Steve.
A small sense of
let's go.
Is not why I'm telling you this story today.
Easy tier one.
Small reason.
Scott, Christopher, and Resub Victory Power.
It would have never carried me through this investigation, which had so many dead ends. What actually hooked me and kept me going on this investigation was a single question: how is this video possible? It shouldn't exist. To explain what I mean, let's go to the board because I got to explain a little more about around cars being gifted, partying, that kind of thing. But the money I was seeing thrown around, specifically
tier one Harry Butts.
Do its videos,
was too much. It
didn't make any sense. Like every video, it was private jets, buying exotic cars, giving away hundreds of thousands of dollars. And going off my experience with YouTube, I knew something was off.
Remember
that video I mentioned, the $1 million one? It only had 4.3 million views. And in that video, he really does spend $1 million.
This is $1 million video, I just realized.
By contrast, the only other YouTuber in the world...
What are his tattoos on his hand? Was that a... Is that a can of purple Flurp? Is this guy like a big Jimmy Neutron fan or something? Each one of the... No, what is that? PBR? A PBR can? An ocarina or a water jug or something? What the fuck is this? This dude, he must have lost a bet or something on the channel. This shit is trash. And then the ball from Rugrats surrounded by a crosshair, like a hollow sight. It is PBR? Okay, thought so.
Only other YouTuber in the world I know of that can afford that kind of spending is Mr. Beast, who regularly gets 50+ million views on a video.
Thanks
and
for
there's
resub, yes.
always
The
a sponsor
Prime
on his
Fire
videos
Beard.
to recoup some of that cost. But here's the weird thing. On Steve's video, with 10 times fewer views, there's no sponsor. And that's how so many of his videos are. He's throwing around money like Mr. Beast, but he has a fraction of the views, and he's not sponsored. So it begs the question, where's this massive cash flow coming from? Is SteveWillDoIt the son of a Saudi prince? Like, this dude seems to have endless amounts of cash, oil baron amounts of cash. And at first, I thought, okay, wait a second, Happy Dad, their new alcohol company.
Oh!
It can't be that, because this
That's what it
spending
is.
predates that. Well, maybe it's merch then. That's the Nelk Boys thing, right? They pull in $70 million a year selling their merch. Maybe selling hats is how Steve affords to live like the son of a president. And I would have thought that, but right as I was about to give up, someone gave me a helping hand on a drunken live stream. Let's bring down the board here.
I have figured out other ways to make money. So, I'm not big because I feel like a baller right now. I don't take private planes. I don't buy $300,000 watch.
He's so humble.
I don't buy whatever. But today I just bought a $200,000 Sprinter.
Oh, okay.
I don't do that from selling t-shirts, dude. It's actually impossible.
He's just like us.
Figured out, I've gotten financial advice, this and that, from my two buddies. They've helped me out. So it's like, they own WizUp. So it's like, they've helped me make so much money to where I don't even want anything.
Wow. When I saw this,
Very
I
articulate.
thought to myself, is this guy confessing? He talks about getting financial advice from someone that changed his life. Like, what is this
knowledge?
And yeah, go for
Immediately,
it.
I started hunting around. At first, I couldn't find much. Just more evidence that SteveWillDoIt, of all people, is more loaded than possibly any other YouTuber in the world right now. Just watch this answer to a question about finances from Steve-O's podcast.
What is your mission?
To be a billionaire.
You're gonna be a billionaire.
All right.
To be a billionaire, yep.
Do you have a timeline for that?
He's a pretty smart guy. He can probably do
5
it.
years?
Damn.
What? Wait a second. 3 to 5 years? He's not even saying that ironically or as a joke. He's like, yeah, what, 3 to 5 years? I don't know. I mean, whatever secret way he's talking about making money earlier, the kind of wealth that's impossible.
If anyone deserves it,
selling
it's
merch. That
Steve
must
will
be
do it.
What we're missing here, the missing link. And I wasn't making much progress finding out how he was doing it. I realized I had to focus up. I got to set my ego aside. I got to make a change. I spent the next several days watching enough SteveWillDoIt content to make my eyes bleed. But finally, all my work
That's a
paid off.
privilege right
I finally
there.
found the episode.
Get to
where
watch
Steve
Steve Will Do
once
It
again mentions his
and
friend
get to
who made him so
learn.
much money.
Alfonso has helped me a lot, with some financial like making good financial moves, money moves. I'm forever grateful for him, and I'm gonna gift him a Richard Mille. It's so unique. He has a bunch of Richard Milles, but this one's like a unique one.
Okay, so we actually learned something here. One, this
He's some Tennessee dude and
Alfonso
saltiest
guy,
boy.
Steve's special friend who helped
yeah,
him.
probably based.
He
Depends
must
on the
be
video.
loaded, right? Because if he has a collection of Richard Mille watches that regularly cost hundreds of thousands of dollars individually, a collection would mean he's at least worth several $1 million minimum.
So this is Alfonso.
I was expecting it to be a child.
This guy?
I thought it was gonna be
He
like a
looks your
14-year-old.
average frat bro in his mid-20s.
Here's
Even if
Alfonso.
That was like breaking my brain.
just started 8th
Things
grade?
started to make even less sense. Pay attention to what he calls Alfonso just a bit later in this clip. I'm gonna let it play for a bit.
And this is Doom, 100% of the time, 365 days of the year, he wears a full send / SteveWillDoIt's / Happy Dad shirt. And Alan, 90...
Whoa. Did you catch that? He calls him...
Alan!
And Alan...
And he does it again later, too.
This is Alan's beautiful girlfriend.
Alan again.
Interesting.
Do it. Mislabel his friend. To find out, I called up a friend of mine who's been digging into this. The Third Eye himself.
This is so cute.
Because we need to get to the bottom
of
who this mystery man is. Philion, thanks so much for taking the time. I know you've been looking into this. Who is this Alfonso guy? Or Alan?
He owns It Works.
All right, so I tracked it all down. His name is Alan. He's a 25-year-old multi-millionaire running the Los Angeles social media scene. He owns both Roobet and Wizza. You know Roobet, right?
Yeah, it's that online casino that SteveWillDoIt and all those guys are gambling on, right?
Exactly, except it's offshore, unregulated, cryptocurrency-based.
Good work, Philion.
And it's not legal in the US. And they are raking in tens of millions of dollars per month.
Oh my gosh. Wait a second. You're saying Alan owns that along with Wizza as well?
Yep.
Those are some big accusations. How do you know
Sonic
it's
and
this like
Taken
frat
Mage
bro
and
behind it
Monado
all? He doesn't have his name on it, right?
Well, he does have Roobet's name on himself. He's quite literally got a tattoo of it on his wrist, which he showcases above his Richard Mille, you know, the $500,000 watches.
You know, all the one that all the 25-year-olds own.
Yeah. I mean, I got two of them, but I got him also on the transitive property of Aiden Ross.
Wait, what do you mean? You got a clip for that or something?
Of course, let's roll it.
His house is sponsored by a company called like Wizza or some shit. I haven't done it at all, but I could do. And if you guys could literally help me come up with giveaways.
If you're a company, and you work with Aiden Ross, you're fucking dumb. He doesn't even know his sponsors. This is sponsored by Chick-fil-A or some shit. I don't fucking know. You should. And then he like rolls over on you. So he like went on stream and he's like, "Hey guys, you remember that like MILF token or something I told you to buy? It was actually just a scam." Like if you pay Aiden Ross to advertise your shit, you deserve to crash and burn 100%. God damn. The fucking company buys his house and they can't even remember their name.
Last person to blah 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 gets blah 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 blah. Like I can literally promote it how I want to do it, how we want to do it. You guys can help me decide. Like, yo, Aiden, you should do a giveaway where you're doing this. They're actually really cool dudes, bro, and they're just like me. Like they own Roobet, they own that site, right?
Not only that, Roobet's Rocket Fund LLC is also registered to the exact same address as the Wizza Sweepstakes LLC, which is 930 Washington Avenue, Suite 205, Miami 33139.
Holy shit.
These are some Space Joker and the Prime Reborn.
Guys. So when SteveWillDoIt's talking about his friend who owns Wizza helping him out financially in life, he's talking about Roobet?
Yep, he's talking about Alan. And not only that, this guy Alan used to be part of the CSGO gambling scene back in the day under the name Arrow 1738 until he shut down his YouTube channel with 40,000 subscribers.
Oh, that's good. It all comes back to CSGO gambling.
It's the same scam all over again.
Exactly.
All right.
I don't know a whole lot about Roobet. I've heard the name before. Hold on. I feel like they sent me an email pretty recently. Let me see. I've definitely seen it on Twitter because of his beef. Yeah, oh, I do have a Roobet offer. Like, I don't know how someone reads this and is like, yeah, I'm fucking on. Like, in their promotional offer to me, they say, rather than being a game based on luck, we are a skill-based trading competition where Earthlings trade the coin to compete for $1 million in winnings. The ship will depart in the end of Earth's July, with an engine too powerful for its own good. The flight can only last somewhere between 15 to 18 days. We'll fly for as long as we can. We don't exactly know when it'll crash. Throughout that period, we'll be pulling incremental amounts of liquidity to secure competitors' winnings. When the liquidity runs out, we will sift through the wreckage, find our survivors, and reward them with cold, hard cash. Total winnings distributed will be decided by the volume of liquidity secured at the time of the crash, and winners will be vetted for authenticity. Yeah, it doesn't tell me shit. That's just weird. Like, I don't know, like, what the fuck does any of that mean? Like, I actually feel like I'm being scammed in their own promotional opportunity that they email me. Easy Tier 1 Wicked Games and Tier 1 Nacho the Dead, and give sub Berserker and resub Papa John Destroyer. Do you think Alan wrote this himself? Thanks to the bits Forsaken again, and yeah, you're not wrong. Thanks to the resub Alex and the Prime Armature, and the resub Infected Cloud and Tyler. Yeah, I definitely thought I had gotten an email from him. Or at least someone that's claiming to represent them.
Here, I think I gotta make a call.
Just catching up on a new scam kill command.
All right, Mood, I'm passing this off to you. We need to do more research about Roobet. How does it work? How do you get paid? What's going on with all these LA influencers?
Oh, brother, I'm already on it. Look at this. Look at the stuff I already found.
Wait, what the hell is this?
Yo, Aiden, can you show me how to hop like a kangaroo while he's icy? Bro, why do you want me to do that, Howie? You're fucking weird as fuck, bro!
That sounds pretty good. Cheating in competitive Melee. That's awfully dubious. So in an actual tournament, this dude cheated? That's pretty brazen.
Cheating. We've all done it at some point. Whether it be looking at your friend's part of the TV while playing split screen, which you would normally do to find out where they were. Peering over your classmate's shoulder during a test, or peeking while playing hide and seek. Mostly innocuous things. Well, now it's time to learn how you could, hypothetically of course, cheat in something with merit. But first, I'm gonna need you to sign this official document stating you won't use this knowledge for anything malicious.
I appreciate
that
Thank
bit
you,
at the bottom, don't worry about it. To get them out of the way, we'll go over some ban techniques that are technically cheating in a competitive environment. Of course, there are the obvious ones like turning off the console, unplugging your opponent's controller, or assaulting them. But there are a few in-game ones too, such as stalling.
Whoa, wait, that's a rule in Melee? I actually didn't know that. Ultimate needs this ASAP. Fuck, man. Ultimate desperately needs a stalling rule for Sonic. Holy shit, I had no clue. If this was implemented, Sandstorm probably would have made it further in the most recent tournament. That Sonic who just kept playing for time, he would literally hang on ledge and run away for the entire 7 minutes.
This can be done in a number of ways.
They need that.
You can stall with Peach's side special by using it against a wall, staying underneath the stage where almost no character can reach you, or by using Jigglypuff's rising pound, that is, angling her pound upward as to lose less height, far away or above the stage. I've already shown off in a video.
Wait, that's fucking cool.
Or you can join the fun and use the most popular form of stalling, planking. Planking is the act of abusing this ledge invincibility, most commonly to maintain a lead on an opponent via non-interaction.
Okay, so stalling's a little worse in Melee than Ultimate.
Planking is
Ultimate just has
difficult
Sonic
to contest with, and attempts to stop your opponent from planking often risk being killed yourself, or at least having your opponent's lead stretched further. Perhaps because of its ambiguous wording. I mean, excessively? How do you quantify that? This
when
is
it gets
why
boring
in the
for
past few
spectators,
years,
I would
a sort
say.
of addendum has been made for planking. The ledge grab limit, as it's called, throws excessively out the window, and limits the amount of times a player can grab the ledge in a single match. Because not only does the offending player have to grab the ledge 60 or more times in a single match, the players also have to exhaust the match's full 8-minute timer for the rule to even come into effect, meaning players can pretty much plank as much as they want. Stalling also comes in the form of continuing infinite combos past 300%.
When does this cover the Pichu player?
While this was mostly only relevant when the Ice Climber's infinite wobbling combo
I can't imagine
was legal,
what they do.
There are some other infinites involving the walls on Pokemon Stadium as well that also fall under this ruling.
That's not okay.
Yo!
This is so dumb.
On top of wobbling, however, Ice Climbers have another ban technique called the freeze glitch. Doing this right will, as the name suggests, freeze your opponent, though throwing them again will unfreeze them. This can either be used to stall or just as a much more difficult infinite for the Ice Climbers. But in either case,
I didn't know
it makes sense
half of
that it
this.
was banned.
Well, I guess because it's banned, I haven't
has
seen
no
it.
banned characters, but
I knew about
you're
wobbling,
wrong.
obviously.
You see, by using the name entry glitch, a glitch I went over a few videos ago, you can play as the only accessible banned character in the whole game. Why is he banned? Well, under rule sets which use percentage instead of stamina, the former being what's used in the standard rule set, Master Hand is completely unkillable, because you can't knock him into the blast zones to take away any of his stats.
Yeah, you can if you're
And
good
I know
enough.
You're thinking,
You should
yes,
be unbanned.
you can actually control him too.
6 foot.
As far as I know, there's only been one recorded case of this ever happening. It was in 2016 when a Pichu player from Ohio gave several not-so-discreet buffs to his character in an effort to perform better in tournament.
What was his name?
His method? Running a hacked version of Melee he had created on a Wii via an SD card. It worked, and the Pichu player began taking full sets from power ranked players with his bottom tier character, collecting prize money while also generating some buzz. So members of the Ohio Melee community secretly took his SD card from his Wii, copied the Melee ISO stored on it, and did some testing. It was pretty obvious, and F-Smash did 24% and killed at 35.
What the fuck?
He was banned.
Who was it?
Luckily, this kind of cheating isn't possible online due to client-side desynchronization.
That's crazy.
As a
what a
surefire method of preventing this in person? Well, there isn't one currently.
I'm really shocked he didn't give the cheater's name. I usually don't care, but when it comes to something like that, I want to know who it was. Like, do they still compete under a different name? What do they do now? How do you come back from that?
The story of the 1956 film The Conqueror is among the most shameful in the history of Hollywood. The big-budget would-be blockbuster featured an epically miscast John Wayne as a 13th century Mongol warlord Genghis Khan.
Genghis Khan, let's
Genghis
go!
Khan had a southern drawl. No, that's bad enough. The worst part is The Conqueror nearly killed half its cast. Some speculate it was out of guilt over the decision to film The Conqueror in a nuclear fallout zone.
Oh,
yes, it's true. The
holy
Conqueror was
fuck.
filmed on location outside the dusty, sleepy town of St. George, Utah, which lay about 100 miles downwind of the US
that's
government's
incredible.
nuclear test zone. In 1953 alone, the government ran 11 nuclear tests there, assuring the residents of St. George that there was no danger from the radiation. They were wrong. Between 1954, when The Conqueror filmed in St. George, and 1981, no fewer than 91 of the production's 220 cast and crew contracted some type of cancer. So even Wayne himself brought his sons Patrick and Michael for an extended visit. Both later developed cancer. At one point, a Geiger counter was brought to the set. Pedro Armendariz developed kidney cancer in 1960 and took his own life in 1963 after being given a terminal diagnosis. That same year, director Dick Powell succumbed to cancerous lymphoma. Another of Wayne's co-stars, veteran stage and screen actress and four-time Academy Award nominee Agnes Moorehead, passed away from uterine cancer in 1972. All told, 46 people who worked on The Conqueror died from cancer or related illnesses, and they weren't alone. A subsequent study concluded that as many as 11,000 Americans, a figure which some believe to be ridiculously conservative, lost their lives as a result of Cold War-era nuclear testing. Since 1990, a fund established by Congress has paid out $2 billion to residents of the very fallout area where The Conqueror was filmed, an area which includes St. George, in which cancer rates remain abnormally high. In 2015, St. George resident and activist Michelle Thomas, a cancer survivor whose mother died from the disease, told The Guardian, "It's gone into our DNA. I've lost count of the friends I've buried. I'm not patriotic. My government lied to me. You have to forgive me if I don't give a shit about John Wayne. They rewrote my DNA. They rewrote my life."
Well, John Wayne didn't do it.
Hughes considered his choice of location for the Conqueror shoot to be the worst mistake of his life. So he asked the government's Atomic Energy Commission for advice. Their answer? They told him it would be perfectly safe. Check out one of our newest videos right here.
That's actually fucking nuts. Holy shit. What does he do? He's been riding freight trains since 1989. He doesn't even ride. 15 worst horror movies ever made. I actually kind of want to make one of those lists. I've seen every shitty horror movie that was ever put on Netflix for, it was like a span of like 3 years. So I've seen probably every horror movie on this list.
Everyone loves a good, scary movie. When done properly, they take us through a range of emotions, have us cowering behind a bucket of popcorn, and remind us what fragile creatures we actually are. We hope you're ready to relive some of the greatest
he's gonna put
cinematic
Birdemic on here. I have to
because
immediately
it's time
discount
to
it.
take a look at the 15
Birdemic
worst
is
horror
meant to be
movies
bad.
ever made. Number 15. Ginger Dead Man Movie. On the face
I've
of it,
actually never
a
seen
movie about a
Gingerbread Man.
psychopathic gingerbread man being played by the one and only Gary Busey should have been the perfect B-movie antidote to the polished Hollywood blockbusters that were so common in 2006. But instead, it'll go down in history as one of the most bizarre, downright stupid, and not scary horror movies to ever grace our screens.
Doesn't look like a gingerbread man
now. Over here and smoke this shit.
The basic plot is that the ashes of a dead serial killer were mixed in with the ingredients of a batch of gingerbread men, and it came in for particular criticism for being so clearly derivative of the much better Child's Play franchise.
No, it's nothing.
Critical
it's not even like
it spawned 3 further sequels, each of which plumbed
new
depths of awfulness. And since the original cast unsurprisingly didn't return for them, there were no redeeming features whatsoever. Number 14. M. Night Shyamalan.
If he does, then he does.
M. Night Shyamalan has made a name for himself with his thought-provoking, supernatural movies with a trademark twist at the end. And in 2008, he released his first and only R-rated work, The Happening.
God, I need to rewatch this fucking movie! Fuck!
Starring Mark Wahlberg,
this one is an actual
tells
classic.
The story of 4 friends as they try to escape a strange natural disaster. And while it took $163 million against its $48 million budget, this happened more because of the director and
writing it down so I don't forget to rewatch this movie.
Film.
It wasn't that
bad. It was
bad.
critically panned.
It is a
most
beautifully
felt that it was the
shit
ideal
movie.
thing to watch if you wanted to take advantage of a comfortable cinema seat to get a decent nap. It's no wonder then that it regularly tops polls of the worst movies of all time. Number 13.
Definitely not one of the worst of all time,
3.
But it's very bad.
Creepshow and Creepshow 2 were horror anthology movies that were released in the 80s based on stories by Stephen King and directed by George A. Romero. It made sense then that the studio wanted to reawaken the franchise in 2006 with the release of Creepshow 3. Resulted was a mess of a movie that was released on HBO and home video around the world. Instead of linking the individual stories together by a comic book like in the first 2, the actual characters in each of the short films interacted with each other, which created a strange sense that you were watching one long narrative, while at the same time, you weren't. There doesn't appear to be anyone who had anything good to say about Creepshow 3. Character development was virtually non-existent, the obviously limited budget made it look awful, and the stories being told simply weren't up to scratch. If you're looking for frights and scares, then Creepshow 3 certainly will not be providing them to you. Number 12. Nah 2, Food of the Gods, 1989. The Food of the Gods,
I haven't heard of like
was a popular novel written by H.G. Wells that was first published in 1904, and in 1976 it was turned into a fairly terrible movie by Bert I. Gordon that was
just a bunch of rats in a pool
to be the worst rodent movie of all time.
How many rodent movies are there?
As sequels go, this one took the unusual step of having absolutely no relation to the original at all, apart from its name. And while that might have seemed like a good idea on paper, they forgot to actually come up with even a semi-decent plot. After injecting a mysterious serum into some rats in a laboratory, they break free and run rampage through a town. It's a classic 80s monster B-movie, but without the comedy, monster design, or fun that fans of the genre like. Number 11. Anaconda, 1997.
Man, what the fuck are these
Green
movies?
anacondas
I haven't heard of
are
any
the
of
largest
these.
species of snake in the world. And if you were to ever face
I tried to watch Karen, but it was just way too boring. It was hard to sit through. It was genuinely a hard movie to sit through. Fucking sucked. I'll be right back. Like, not in a fun way. I was hoping it'd be so bad it's good, but it was just so fucking hard to sit through.
In the waters of the Amazon 2, the
I've never seen Exorcist 2.
Stephen King is literature's
Maximum Overdrive. I know this one.
Stephen King. Blockbuster, different mediums of expression, the worst ever Stephen. First Leprechaun movie was released in 1993.
You go down.
A Wicker Man movie that was released in 1973 changed the way we view Sea Life forever.
He didn't get any like actual good, super shitty horror movies. He did, though? Yeah, maybe some of like the 80s ones where every movie, well, not every, but a lot of the movies were just shitty anyway, just because they were low budget. I'm talking like big budget horror movies, I think is what you should be focusing on for the worst horror movies, because so much shit in the 80s was just throwaway, shovelware shit. I'm talking multi-million-dollar budgets and things. That's what I think matters. Because I could also just cherry pick like student films, too. I'm talking like some real stinkers, like Let's Be Evil. The newest Grudge. Newest Grudge was absolutely atrocious. Yep. Jason in Spaces. Yeah, that one's charmingly bad. The most disturbing painting. This is the most disturbing painting. Someone's just eating chips in a cave.
What's the scariest painting in art history?
This is...
There are some strong contenders, like deep. The Judgment of Cambyses by Gerard David, Hieronymus Bosch's rendering of Hell.
Wait, what? This was a rendering of Hell? This is Hell? In Hell, they make you play a recorder from your butthole? Wow. I mean, hey, maybe Hell's not that bad. No, I didn't know that, Naruto.
This one. Francisco Goya's Saturn devouring his son. What you're seeing here is the legendary Spanish painter's depiction of the Greek titan Cronus.
Nice.
The story is a well-known Greek myth, but look at how Goya handles it. Some key changes jump out right away. First, in the myth, Cronus devours
it doesn't really
his
look like a
children
person.
by swallowing them whole. In fact, they remain alive in his
Looks
stomach.
more like meat.
Goya's painting
in
is a
RuneScape,
much
like
more
raw meat.
gruesome affair. In Goya's version, that beauty is gone. We're left with a frightened,
it looks pretty
crazed
goofy.
monster discovered in the dark as if by some explorer with a torch who wandered into the wrong cave. The photographs you're seeing now were taken over 50 years after that time. Goya never mentioned the paintings himself. He never intended for anyone to see them. To this day, people
they don't look very
puzzle
high
over the
quality.
meaning of the black paintings. Why was Goya creating these pessimistic and fantastical scenes in the solitude of his home? To understand this, it might help to go back through Goya's career. He grew up in Zaragoza, Spain, the fourth of 6 children in a lower middle-class family.
If it was like a really terrifying painting like fucking James Corden eating the head off of a kid or something like that guy, then I could see it. But I mean, that's not doing it for me.